watching the Forefront Church video podcast. And wherever you're at viewing online, we just want to say thank you and welcome. And one of the ways that we can help connect with you is we want to hear from you and where you're at and how we can help. And so head over to forefrontchurch.info after the message and click the Connect tab. It's a great way for us to help you along your spiritual journey as you connect with God and learn about Jesus. And so sit back, relax. We hope that you're challenged and encouraged from today's message. Welcome everybody on Facebook Live. We're glad you're with us. Drop some emojis in the comments. Let us know you're awake and excited. You guys here? Everybody doing all right? Everybody's pumped. I like it. It's been a good morning. Everybody's excited because it's getting a little warmer around here. We are thankful for that. I'm excited as we get into week 4 of our series, The Bible Doesn't Say That. And we're walking through how to read the Bible. Why is it important? Why should we even bother opening up this age-old text, and what does it mean for your life and mine? And so as we've been diving into this, we've been looking at some things going, all right, people want to read the Bible. Statistically, people are looking at that question on Google in our area, the number one question asked. And across the country, it's always in the top 10 of questions that people are asking. So I don't think it's because people don't want to read the Bible, but we're just having a hard time going, how do I do that? Which is why we started this series. And today we get into some nuts and bolts about how that works and giving you guys some tools on your way in. You guys who are watching online, you got no free gifts because you didn't drive here. But for those of you guys who are here, you got some bookmarks, and you might be like, who reads books these days? Apparently not Christians, which is why we're in this series. And so my favorites on there are when you get to Judges, a Tarantino film, but with more stabbing. And so if you're uber religious, you're like, I can't believe that I was handed a bookmark. These people are going straight to hell. I would ask you in Christian language to check your heart. Because we want to be able, because the reality is that 1/3 of Christians read their Bible regularly. That the overwhelming majority of Christians in the United States read their Bible 2 times a month at most. So we hope that by using some of these tools and some other things that we'll look at, that we can help you along. And so there is a little link there at the top that provides all kinds of things. And if you want to follow along today, whether you're online or here in service, you can head over to forefrontchurch.info, click that notes tab, and everything that we're talking about is right there. And we give away Bibles for free in the lobby. And so you can use those brand new bookmarks in a brand new Bible. There is no catch. You don't have to fill anything out. We want to be able to help you engage your faith. And if you didn't get one on your way in, don't worry. They have more at the door as you guys are heading out. And you guys online can download a PDF version if you go to the notes section. So we got all our bases covered today. I am thankful for you guys, but I want to recap where we've been. Now as we get into the nuts and bolts, where have we been? So even if you missed a week, you get to get a little synopsis of where we headed. So in week 1, we jumped right in and said, you and I, as we asked the question, why the Bible? You and I will encounter God through the Bible consistently over time. And consistently over time, the other things that we're going to encounter is our heart, which is very broken because of the things that we've been through, the experiences that we've had. We've encountered, if you encountered more than 0 people, you are going to have a broken heart. Because people are wounded, people are broken, and we don't move in perfect ways. And as we engage the Bible, we also encounter our own heart, and that's tough. But also the beauty is we'll encounter Jesus along the way. And we'll celebrate Jesus. We celebrate him every week, but even more so on Easter as we share that story. And as you saw in the opening video, we want you guys to come back and be a part of that. And so in week 2, we realized we don't have a Bible problem, and we're not anti-Bible, we're actually anti-authority. You see, and so as we dove into this, we said, all right, the Bible is our authority, because none of us like being told what to do. We want to do our own thing. I don't want a boss. I'm going to be my own boss, which is why so many people want to start their own business. Why? Because they don't want to have somebody telling them what to do. And then we encounter the Bible and we go, God told me to do what? And he used this very bad four-letter word called obey. And we go, I don't want to do that. I don't like commands. I don't like being told how to act. But what we realized in our problem with authority is that God has what's best for us. And so we landed at the Bible is our authority from God. Well, what about the things that I don't like that as I dig into the Bible? Well, just because I don't like the truth doesn't make the truth any less true. And that is hard for us. In a time where we just go, if I want something to eat, I'll go and get it, but I will get it the way I want it. And then we go and we just like, I'm going to go shop for clothes and I'm going to go to the store that I want to find the clothes that I like to wear what I desire. And then we go and buy a home and we go to the neighborhood and we search and search. We're going to buy the home that we want, that's painted the way we want, and we rearrange all the knock down walls and do whatever, and we get super shiplappy with everything, and we're going to make it the way that we want it. And then we go to the car dealership and we want to go and we say, I like that car, but not in that color. I want this interior. I want these things. And we dig. Why? Because we want to get what we want, how we want it, when we want it. And then God tells us, that's still true. We go, what do I do with that? Well, I'm either going to choose to disobey God or I'm going to obey his truth. Which led us to week 3, where we jumped in. And we said, all right, I'm buying this a little bit, but we said don't read the Bible. I'm like, well, we're talking about a series how we read the Bible. Why would you tell me not to read the Bible? And that's why last week during all 3 services, even from people online, I watched, you ever talk to a dog and try to tell them something and they kind of look at you like, huh? And I watched the entire audience do it. It's the same thing. And all you guys, and I get it. Well, what do you mean don't read the Bible? You just told us this is a whole series about how to read the Bible. I don't want you to read the Bible. I want you to consume it. I want you to dig into it. Quite figuratively, I want you to eat it. And we described how you don't need to, literally eat the Bible. Don't want to see anybody in the parking lot just like, no, this doesn't work. We want to be able to dig in and learn, and we want it to change us from the inside out. And so that leads us to this week. And as we jump into this week, I want to make sure that we do this well. And so it reminds me of, as we talk about today's topic, we had the chance to go to Disney over Christmas break. And I know, I've met a lot of people who have been to Disney. We were newbies, all right? We were noobs. We were going, and our littlest child, we have 3, our littlest child out of the gate, I want to meet Minnie Mouse. I was like, we'll figure it out. So what did we do? We had no idea. So we started going on blogs. There are like blog page after blog page just to tell you about how to navigate the Disney experience so you get the most for your money. These people are crazy. Because they have plotted out, they're like, it is exactly 45 and a half steps to get to this. And if you need to stop at the restroom, here's where you go. But you need to plan your restroom trips right, because then you go here and then you're able to bring in your food, but you need to sneak it in and whatever. And you're just like, I feel like it was easier to storm the beaches of Normandy than it was to plan a trip. But we planned it, and she's like, I want to meet Minnie Mouse. So we're texting friends, and we even had friends that were down there. And so we're like, we will get you to meet. We made the promise, which parents, you should never, ever, 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 ever promise that that's going to happen. So we get in the first day as we go in here, and lo and behold, in Magic Kingdom, Minnie Mouse is on the castle stage. And I'm like, yes, we did it. And so this is the picture that I got of Kinley. She saw it. She's like, Minnie Mouse. And I'm like, score, we are good. We first day right in the park, and she's so excited. And then they get done, and there's fireworks that happen during the day. Magical, okay? Fireworks in the middle of the day. Just like, I was like, this is awesome. And then it ends. They go into the castle. I'm like, Dad of the year, Mom of the year, we totally did this. She turns to us, when do I get to meet Minnie Mouse? You promised. So we spend, now there's an app that you can use to be able to track characters that are throughout the park to find where they're going to be, when they're going to be there. But the app doesn't work if you go during the busiest time of the year, and you think, surely that would be during summer. No. Everybody wants to leave where it snows, and it's cold, and it's crappy weather, and they go down to Disney when everybody else is cold, and it's sunny there. So everyone in the free world was at Disney when we went, and so the app kept crashing. We kept trying to do it, and I'm like, why is it? It's just like, it's, got the little spinny wheel of death. I'm like, forget it, this is dumb. And so we kept doing it, and we just couldn't. So we kept going through. We met everybody. We met Donald, we met Daisy, we met Goofy, we met Sophia the First. And for some of you, you don't know who that is, and you just need to thank Jesus later for that. And we met, we got the chance to see Darth Vader and the Stormtroopers and C-3PO, and if you don't understand that, you need Jesus. And I got a picture with Chewbacca, and he was like checking out my tattoos, and we just stood there, and I had my beard, and he touched my beard, and I felt good about my life. And then she kept asking the question, we're 3 days in, when do I get to meet Minnie Mouse, Mickey Mouse? All right, we're going to figure this out. So we're doing this, we finally make our way to the last day we are there in the parks. Like, we're going to do this. Like, Mission Impossible, Tom Cruise, we're on it. And we find out we were texting, asking questions, because we were new. When you don't know something, you ask questions, and you're asking, and you're searching, and we come across this guy, and he comes up to the little desk thing. He said, hey, what's this? We didn't know what that was, because we don't know, because we're new, and we're asking questions. He said, actually, there's Mickey and Minnie Mouse in here. We stumbled upon it. And I was like, gold mine. Get in line. He said, how long is the wait? Oh, it's only going to be about 25 minutes. That man was a liar. We stayed in that line. I got a glimpse of what hell will be like standing in that line forever. I don't want to do this. And just to let you know, because every time everybody posts pictures of their trips, they always post the nice pictures. Oh, no, not us. Here's a picture of Kinley letting her entire family know that she hates us all, basically. She kept saying, I don't like you guys. And I think that by her mouth is the middle of lie, like, I don't like you guys. And we do it laughing. I'm up here, there's laughing. Carrie's taking the picture, she's laughing. And and it's taking forever. But finally, we got to meet Minnie Mouse. And she was like, that's it, we can go home, we're done. Met Minnie Mouse, we're good to go. And man, it took a long time asking questions, researching because we didn't know. And it got me thinking about how we approach God in the Bible. Because quite frankly, when we're brand new to church, I meet a lot of Christians who just go, oh, you should just know because that's what you do. No, you don't know. And what I know is that even most Christians don't know because they don't read their Bible, which is why I have to keep saying, and our staff says, and our small group leader says, the Bible doesn't say that. Well, I thought it did. You would know that it doesn't say that if you read your Bible, and so we need to talk about why, whether we're new to faith or we've been at this a while, we're coming with questions and we haven't quite yet answered them. And the top questions that people end up asking is, who is God and how can I trust Him? And I want to let you know that the only way that this happens, and this is our main idea for the day, the only way to cultivate a connection of trusting God is to encounter the Bible and let go of safety. Because we like to be safe. We love to feel confident and secure no matter where we are, no matter what we're doing. That's why there's constant talk about retirement. There's constant, okay, at school, like we need to talk about safety and all these things. We love to feel comfortable and safe. And so we encounter God. Who is God? Can I trust Him? Is this safe for me? Is this okay for me to engage this? And our kind of comeback with that is, but how can I trust somebody I'm still trying to learn about and understand? And I get that this is the case because A.W. Tozer shares the gravest question before everyone who engages God in the church. We tend by a secret law of the soul to move forward our mental image of God. What he's saying there is, you and I, the moment that it's an ever-evolving idea of who God is. You go through a traumatic experience, your view of God changes. You lose a loved one, your view of God changes. you get diagnosed with something that rocks your world, your view of God changes. Talk to someone who's lost a child. Their view of God and humanity and life changes. Battling through addiction and watching a relative or loved one battle through addiction, your view of God changes. And so Tozer shares with us, this is ever evolving, and we have this longing to trust God, but we have these questions about God. I want to engage this. Why do I want to engage faith and still have so many questions? Because it's innately drilled down and in our very being. That's why the writer in Psalm shares this, my soul thirsts for God, for the living God. Where can I go and meet God? We desire that. That is part of your and my DNA. How can I engage faith? And it starts by engaging the Bible. But we still go, man, I'm trying to engage the Bible, but can I trust Him? And I totally understand this concept. It was in my first trip to Vietnam that this really showed its face to me. I showed up in Vietnam. I was with one other forefronter from here, and we led another church there. And we were supposed to meet with someone who was a part of the mission there in Vietnam. We've been going there for over a decade, engaging the culture there, in this little village that's there. I've watched so many amazing things transpire. And we get there. This is my first trip years ago. And as I land there, we get there, and we were told, we got a picture of this guy. His name's Dunn, but it's not pronounced. It does not look at all. If I put it on paper, you'd be like, what? That's not Dunn. It's just how they say it. Just go with it. And so I saw, I got this picture. Guy's name is Dunn. Got it. Done. We got to go meet that guy. We get to the airport, and there's a guy holding a sign that says, and we were with the church that we helped start up in Richmond called Area 10, and it said, Forefront, Area 10, and there's a guy standing behind the sign, except it doesn't look like the guy we're supposed to meet. He says, Americans! And my first thought is, where is the guy that I'm supposed to meet? Because that guy's not it. My second thought, and I'm not making a joke of human trafficking, I genuinely think through, did he get the guy and steal the sign, do something to him? Are we going to be okay? I genuinely am, this is all processing. Is this guy's just smiling, holding a sign? And so I'm like, hello? He's, hi, Americans, and hardly any English. We're supposed to meet a guy from the group there to be able to go and do what we're doing. And so I'm like, where's Dunn? Americans! And I'm like, lo and behold, nobody on our team speaks Vietnamese because we were told we're going to meet somebody at the airport that knows how to speak English and Vietnamese. So we all get there, and everybody's looking at me because I'm supposed to be kind of guiding this. I'm like, I can't just, here's Vietnamese. I'm not, that's not going to happen. And so we're supposed to meet, and you ever have a language barrier, I don't know why we talk louder when, if I say what you didn't understand louder, then you'd be like, oh, I can hear you now, clearly. I now know English because you shouted at me. And so, we're supposed to meet Dunn at the airport. He said, when? Now. We're supposed to meet Dunn at the airport. He said, when? And now we're supposed to meet. And he said, no, when? I said, his name was When. And I thought we were playing Who's on First. And I was like, this is really good. I said, where are we going? He said, eat. And I'm great, cool, we're going to eat. So are we going to meet Dunn? He said, when? No, you're when. When are we going to meet? When? And I'm like, forget it. Just take us where we're going, which he didn't understand either. And so we get in there, we go, and who is this guy? Can I trust him? I have 7 other people who are counting on me to make a wise choice. We might end up living in Vietnam for the rest of our lives. We get to this restaurant, we go up to the top of the restaurant, and we're there. I said, when are we going to meet Dunn? And of course, it goes back into when. And I'm like, no, when are we going to meet Dunn? And he, when? Forget it, eat. And he, eat. And I'm like, cool, when are we doing it? When? Never mind. Bypassing all this. So we look at it, I'm like, I don't even know. Just pointed at a picture. I hope it's good because I can't read Vietnamese. This guy's not going to help me because if I ask him, he's just going to tell me when, not when. And so we get there, and finally, goes on for almost 3 hours, 3.5 hours. And I'm like, I am terrified because I keep asking the question, who is this guy, and can I trust him? Are we going to be stuck here? And eventually our person comes, they had a family emergency, he was kind of just entertaining us, which was entertaining. And we get there and I felt fine, but it so reminded me of the way that we engage the Bible. I'm going to read this. God, who are you? Can I trust you? Where are you taking me here? If I begin to pore over this and let my life get changed by these pages, will it pay off? Can I see the investment and the return on it? God, can I trust where you're going to go? And I totally get it. It's the same premise when we go out in life. Who are you? Can I trust you? And who more are we going to ask those questions about than to God? It is a trust issue, and God has a different way for us. I wrote this down in my notes, and it encourages me. I pray it encourages you. The reality is, because I hear people say, well, I just go to church then. That's how I meet God. No, you don't meet God in church. Be like, then why are we here? You meet God in the Scriptures, in the Bible. You see, you worship here together. You and I, we find community here. And if you haven't found that yet, it's because you haven't chosen to take the step to be able to connect with others. But you can find community here. You can find worship and movement here. You are launched here from here to serve others. That is our goal, that the rest of the 167 hours you have when you're not here, that you're actually living out what you worshiped for an hour. You have more worship that happens outside these walls than you ever do when you're here. You say, I had good worship earlier this week. What'd you do with the rest of the hours? But you and I meet God in the Scriptures, and He calls us to a new way. Erwin McManus, he's written many books. He's a pastor out in LA. But the first book that he wrote, called The Barbarian Way, is so good. I've given it to men and women. Women go, man, that's a really good book. Guys go, I'm ready to take the hill. Like, they read that book because guys are genuinely wired to just be like, man, I want to conquer something. I want to be able to chase something, to have a battle to fight for. And this is what he shares about that new way of trust. So this is the barbarian way: to give your heart to the only one who can make you fully alive, to unleash the untamed faith within, to be consumed by the presence of God, a presence of a passionate and compassionate God, to go where He sends you, no matter the cost. And that takes trust, which is why the writer of Hebrews shares with us this. He says, without faith, it is impossible to please God. Because anyone who comes to Him must believe that He exists and that He rewards those who earnestly seek Him. Which is why we want to give you the tools. People go, man, you guys have your website that for people that aren't a part of the church. And then you have this .info page, and you guys give us all these tools, and you write Bible studies, and you give us, this and all that. Man, you guys, why do you guys do that? Because I want you to engage and meet God in the Bible. Because I know that if you actually do it, it's going to change your life. It's changed mine, and it's changed so many people here at this church. Continually see it time and time again where they go, I'm engaging God, I'm learning about Him, I am meeting Jesus in this, and they go, I want to give my life to Him, I want to surrender my life to Him. That's why we watch people get baptized all the time. Because they go, man, I want my life to be changed, and I'm going to show it by what I do. And so I want to give you a little bit, if you and I were texting back and forth, I want to give you a little bit of a breakdown of how this would look. Because you go, man, all right, I think I'm ready, but I don't even know how to start with the Bible. And so this is to give you a little snapshot, and that's why you have the bookmark. It has some, tongue-in-cheek ways. My hope is that it spurs you on. I already had somebody this morning, they're like, man, Judges sounds cool. I was like, he's like, I've watched everything Tarantino did. I said, well, then he ain't got nothing on this. Because the Bible is NC-17. If you're like, no, the Bible's safe and whatever, no, it's not. There is incest, there's rape, there's battles, there's murders. There's also this whole book called Song of Songs, and it talks about an ivory tusk, and it is not talking about an elephant. If you felt real awkward right now, yeah, it gets weird. The Bible talks about sin. And it doesn't talk about sin like sin is dirty and foul. No, if you really translated it right, it talks about, it says rubbish or dung. No, it would be an expletive. You're like, oh, but the Bible says do not say any curse that would come out of your mouth. If we really translated things the way that they should have been, we've tried to make the Bible PG. It's not. And so as we move through this, we want to be able to say, well, then why is this? How do I engage this in this whole story? Beginning of creation. God, from the moment, there is nothing except Him who existed, the creator of all things. He said, let there be light, let there be land, let there be a universe there, the stars, the moon, let me separate all these things. Then He makes man, He goes, it's not good for man to be alone. And I said, thank you. And He decided that He said, you need someone to be with you. So he created Eve. So you two will be together. Here's the only problem. They wanted to have everything God had, which is why we have the corruption and the fall. So we're going to eat from this tree. We want to be like God. We want to be God. And there's a chasm between the creator and the created, which then lands us, God watches us, and catastrophe takes place. And constantly, we are just buck wild. Like, it is out of control. And God goes, you know what? I've had enough. The only person that I could find of honor on this earth is Noah and his family, which is where we get to the flood. And if you have a hard time with this and you're processing this, you go, man, I don't like the God of the Old Testament, and there's a lot of hurt and war and these things. I want to let you know, me too. I wrestle with these pieces. God, couldn't there been a different way? And the only thing that I know is that I have to trust that God is good and that God knows better than I do. And just because I can't understand it doesn't mean that it wasn't the right and honorable thing to do. That's why the truth doesn't make any less true just because I don't agree with it sometimes. So God says, all right, I'm going to spare Noah and your family. The rest of it, we're going to wipe the slate clean. And then for the rest of the Old Testament, it's a bunch of people going, I want to honor God. Psych. I want to honor God. Just kidding. Like, it's constant. It's a back and forth. Some of y'all don't even know psych. Y'all are like, if you're under like the 20 crowd, they're like, what's that? That's weird. All the old people are like, hey. It's this movement of, I'm going to honor God. I want to do my own thing. I want to honor God. My way's better. That's the whole rest of the Old Testament. And it gets crazy. There's battles, there's wars, there's people going, I want to honor God. I like that lady. Bring her to me. Oh, she's married. Go kill that guy in the front of battle so that way she can be with me. Okay, like crazy stuff. And that's David, the guy after God's own heart. And then you get into people that are like, God sent me to judge you. And so this whole town is getting slaughtered. And you're like, what is happening? It gets a little bit bonkers. I want to be near God. I want to do my own thing. God says, you know what? There is an ultimate way to end this. Christ, Jesus. I'm going to send Jesus, my son, once and for all to wipe the slate clean. Past, present, future, all covered. I will extend this gift to all of mankind. Quit trying to earn your way to me. I know a better way. And so we have this gift through Jesus. And then starts the church. Right after in the New Testament, what the church is, it's a bunch of letters that say, hey, you're doing great, but that one thing. Hold up. Hey, you're doing awesome. That's why on your bookmark, 1st and 2nd Corinthians, hey, Corinth, don't do that. 2 Corinthians, hey, I remember I told you not to do that. And it's God the Father, through the writers, saying to mankind, hey, have you not learned from your past? Oh, wait, it's interesting that even back then they weren't even remembering and reading up and studying and learning about their past, and so they were doomed to, what? Repeat it. And so that's what the entire New Testament, hey, you're doing awesome. Hey, here's how you can live for Jesus. By the way, just stop. Not because of your behavior, but because you met Jesus. So just to stop that. You are new now. And then we get in the book of Revelation, the very last book, it's a whole dream about the second coming of Jesus. And there's a lot of weird stuff in there. It is. It's weird. It's figurative. It's dreamlike. But what we see from here to here before Jesus is a bunch of people trying really hard to save themselves and the world, and they just can't do it because they're not Jesus. And then enters in Christ, Jesus, who changes everything, who is the true and better one above all. Why don't you guys take a moment and check this out.
The Bible is not a series of disconnected stories. It is a single narrative in which every story, every character points beyond itself to one who is greater. The story of Adam and Eve is not just about the first man and woman. There is a true and better Adam who passed the test in the garden and whose obedience is ascribed to us. There is a true and better Abel who, though innocently slain, has blood that cries out not for our condemnation, but for our acquittal. There is a true and better Abraham who answered the call of God to leave all the comfortable and familiar and go out into the void to create a new people of God. There is a true and better Isaac, the son of laughter, of grace, who was not just offered up by his father on the mount, but was truly sacrificed for us all. There is a true and better Jacob, who wrestled and took the blow of justice we deserve, so we, like Jacob, only receive the wounds of grace that wake us up and discipline us. There is a true and better Joseph, who at the right hand of the king forgives those who betrayed and sold him and uses his new power to save them. There is a true and better Moses who stands in the gap between the people and the Lord and who mediates a new covenant. There is a true and better rock of Moses who, struck with the rod of God's justice, now gives us water in the desert. There is a true and better Job, the truly innocent sufferer, who then intercedes for and saves his foolish friends. There is a true and better David, whose victory becomes his people's victory, though they never lifted a stone to accomplish it themselves. There is a true and better Esther, who didn't just risk losing an earthly palace, but lost the ultimate heavenly one, who didn't just risk his life, but gave his life to save his people. There is a true and better Jonah, who was cast out into the storm so that we could be brought in. There is a true and better Passover lamb, innocent, perfect, helpless, slain so the angel of death will pass over us. He's the true temple, the true prophet, the true priest, the true king, the true sacrifice, the true lamb, the true light, and the true bread. The Bible is not a series of disconnected stories. It is a single narrative that points to one person, Jesus.
That is where we're going to in just a few weeks on Easter. But I met somebody after first service, who said, Jason, I didn't even know half the names in that video. And I've been a Christian all my life. And I had to stop and I said, I'm not questioning whether or not you're a Christian. But I would challenge you that if you don't know the names of the people that came before, who led the way so that you can understand how good a sacrifice that Jesus is, then maybe you need to rethink your status as someone who follows Jesus if you don't know all the people that came along before him to show us the history of what it meant, because there's nothing greater than impacting in this moment where we see all this thing than knowing what the sacrifice was. Because anytime I've been through something and then I see it for what it is, I go, man, I'm so thankful for my family, for my daughters, for this church, for friendships. Why? Because I've seen the ugly side of it and I've seen the less than side. And I'm so thankful for Jesus. And there's a lot of people that I meet in Christianity who would say, you know what, the way that I engage faith is that I'm a Christian because I go to church. Going to church doesn't make you a Christian any more than walking into a garage makes you a Ford F-150. You actually have to engage what takes place. This is why, as we close, I would share this. That I would tell you to just remember, Jesus would rather have you do what is right than what is Christian. Because I meet a lot of people who claim Christianity, unfortunately, that don't actually live it. And if you've met some of those people, I want to apologize on behalf of them, even if they wouldn't, that I'm sorry that you've encountered that. But we will stand as a group of believers who say that we will honor God, we will always do what is right in the name of Jesus. And my prayer is that you will engage this and you'll learn that too, and it'll change your life from the inside out. Thanks for tuning in to the Forefront Church video podcast. Our hope and prayer is that this has left you encouraged and challenged you in your faith. And you might have some questions and some ways that you want to figure this out, and we want to help with that. Head over to forefrontchurch.info, and there's a couple different ways that you can connect. Click the Connect tab and let us know how we can be praying for you, or a staff member can be contacting you this week. Maybe you have just been encouraged by this and want to support the ministry here at Forefront Church. You can click the Giving tab, as well as other tabs that are in there to help you along in your journey with God. And so we're thankful for you. Thanks for tuning in, and we cannot wait to see you again here online on the video podcast. We love you, and we'll see you then.